just to cover first what is cloud, right? Let's level set on what is cloud, and not from a technical standpoint, but what can it mean to you from a business standpoint. When to use cloud, because there are 4 scenarios where it really does make sense from a marketing standpoint, from where marketers can really benefit from it for a lot of the reasons that Gordon and Andy already mentioned. And then I got 3 stories about kind of where Azure's been used to augment marketing. So what is a cloud platform? I think today, if you're building websites or web applications, you probably go down to your IT department and they've got something that looks like this. I've seen that there's some banks here, so maybe it's a little more sophisticated than what this is. But in essence, there is a finite amount of space and amount of resources for whatever you're doing in marketing. And you go to IT and you say, I want to spin up a mobile application, a microsite, a promotion that we expect to go pretty big. How much can you do and how much is it going to cost? And they'll tell you it's X tens of thousands of dollars and it's going to take 3 or 6 weeks to get it shipped and set up. And that's just not efficient enough for us. What cloud is, and this is actually Microsoft's Dublin cloud set. So it doesn't actually live in the cloud, it's planted on the ground somewhere. As I mentioned, this one's in Dublin, but this is Microsoft's center there. State-of-the-art facility with amazing environmental aspects to it so that it gets heated and cooled off of geothermal energy and sources like that. So it's very efficient on the earth. But I think what is most important about this is there's massive scale in there. Microsoft's cloud infrastructure today, the server space we have, is equal to the internet in 1999. We have just as many servers and server power as there was in 1999 across the entire internet. But what does it mean to you? And I think, I present this more to an IT audience usually, but you need to focus on these 3 points at the bottom, because what IT means, or what cloud means to you is economics, great economic savings from your budgets, agility, so let you be agile, let you dream big about your creative and be creative about your campaigns and never let IT kind of limit you back, and let you focus on being creative, on being marketers, and not have to get drawn into these other kind of debates. As I mentioned, 4 scenarios where cloud really makes sense for marketing campaigns. First one, where it's an on and off type of model, like a holiday campaign, where you want to have your application or your mobile site or your website on and running and taking a lot of traffic and a lot of heat, but then you want to be able to shut it off and not pay for it, not have to use it when you're not in these periods of inactivity, and then turn it right back on where you left off. The other 3, imagine more that you're sitting here at point 1 and you actually don't know where you're going to go next. So you've got the promotional on, right? You're putting a promotion in market, and it's going to blip up and spike in activity and in usage, and then it's going to come back down. Or you're at a launch and it's going to go up. And we heard about some launch stories with the wind downs and things like that, but you don't know where the top of this is going to be. So traditionally you have to go to IT and imagine some sort of ceiling and hope that it doesn't get there and go past that. Or the social model, the natural ebbs and flows of this. But in IT today, you build for the top level of this. Really what happens with cloud is we're hugging the line as close as possible. So you're just going to pay for what you need and go up and down with your needs and resources. So it's a lot more cost efficient in that manner from an IT perspective. I'm going to roll this case study. So Volvo Cars, they were doing a promotion lined up with the Twilight movie series. So very, very popular movie franchise. This was for the 3rd movie. They knew it was going to be big. They didn't really know how big it was going to go. And there's actually a great quote at the end of this one to listen for. But they were basically putting up an interactive online game, global and reach, global campaign launching their new car. Let's move into this.
With the huge success of the Twilight Eclipse movie, since Volvo was written into the actual books, we were a natural partner as a part of the actual movies. We saw the Twilight series as a perfect example that we could extend that into an online campaign focused on our cars. The purpose of the game is to find your way to the hero's house as quickly as possible. The ultimate prize was a brand new Volvo XC60 fully equipped.
The first I heard about the Twilight and the Lost in Forks campaign, I thought that we will never make it performance-wise. It's too cumbersome.
So we needed to really have a very flexible platform to build upon.
The important thing was to deliver performance with a cost that was acceptable for Volvo Cars. We actually looked through the other cloud solutions, but we found out that the Windows Azure solution was the best one.
We ended up having more than 1 million visits and almost 400,000 people actively playing the game. And looking back at the cost for this solution, we're probably down to below 10% of what it would have cost otherwise using our old structure.
Windows Azure has the possibility to have storage databases on different regions and different continents.
This project definitely opens up a whole new way of thinking for us as digital marketers in terms of what we can do online and not feel that we are limiting ourselves through the IT choices that we've made.
I knew that Windows Azure was the right choice because I slept very well that night, and I've never done that before a global launch before.
So that's the line. I slept well the night before my global launch because I knew the infrastructure was there, that if it went up in demand like we were hoping for, and you heard about them, in a month and a half, 1 million visits, 500,000 participants around the world, I slept easy that night. The other benefit there that they mentioned, I don't know if they caught it, was 85% savings in the cost of the IT infrastructure versus when they did this campaign for one of the previous ones. Huge, huge cost savings we're talking about. Another one, a more B2B scenario with Boeing. So with their scenario, their challenge was demoing their product to customers. As you can imagine, it's not that easy to go out and whip a 747 or a 737 out of your back pocket and show it to your customers. They wanted some sort of way to bring it around, or at least let customers experience the product, learn about their new line of the 737 at their own convenience. So they built an online application. There was a mobile app, there was a website version of it, and all these other things. And it was just this massive collection of photos and data. It's a very analytical driven model, but it was basically an online brochure for a 737. In fact, it got a Guinness World Record for the largest gigapixel image of a product or for a commercial brochure ever made. And so they hosted it in Azure, right? And they were able to take advantage of the cost savings of putting it up there, and they didn't know if this was going to be successful. But until people started using it and going to it, it really wasn't a big cost for them. And then the last real benefit to them was the time to market for this product. By using Azure, by using the infrastructure there, they didn't have to go and procure all the IT resources they needed to do it. They could just point there and use as much Azure as they needed to for this case. And then the last one, real quick, is Halo 4, a product, video game that just came out on Tuesday. Very, very popular franchise for the Xbox brand. This is, as far as I know, the first console-based game that's hosted completely on Azure. The multiplayer for the game is completely in Azure. And so that's a pretty big undertaking for a product when you think about the millions of people interacting over this massive data, over consoles, connecting with different devices and things like that. And as far as I've heard, the launch did go off without any hitch, no down, no outages and things like that. So I think Azure is ready for main time. That kind of covers all that I want tonight. Are there any questions?